Probably called that because it likes eating cabbage, I would imagine.
I would imagine so. Great aerial shot there of the Saxon Ring, of course, the shortest venue on this 18-round World Championship calendar. Engines are being fired up. We're ready for this 15-minute qualifying session. It's Jorge Lorenzo, as he likes to do so often, that's going to hit the track first.
Lorenzo loves to do this. He will set that benchmark lap. Pretty much the rest of the field are coming behind us. Valentino Rossi at the back of the field. We're underway. 15 minutes of pure adrenaline. 15 minutes that will determine the grid positions for those first 4 rows for round 9 of the championship tomorrow. We arrive with Valentino Rossi, the championship leader. Dylan, time choice.
So very interesting. So very interesting. Obviously, they've all gone with their softest option they can. Lorenzo, you just seen go past there with the asymmetric front, as is Smith, the Ducatis as well. But we have Marquez, Rossi, and Dani Pedrosa. They have opted for that medium option front tyre.
Well, have they made the right choice? The next 14 minutes, 25 seconds will tell us.
Confirmation there, Jorge Lorenzo, as Dylan pointed out on that blue-banded asymmetric front tyre. Yamaha boss Lynn Jarvis and team manager Maya Merigali in discussion about, I'm sure they'll be discussing tactics. Of course, Lorenzo and Rossi out on different front tyre options.
This is Johnny and Andrews, who came through qualifying 1. Bradley Smith has looked strong all weekend. Andrea Dovizioso with that softer tyre option. But it's Lorenzo that leads the way through turn 12. Then up to 13 he will come. And then battle will commence here around the shortest circuit on the MotoGP calendar.
So Lorenzo leads the field across the line to start what will be the first flying laps of this session. Here we go. It's Lorenzo leading now. It's Andrea Iannone behind him. Iannone will have the soft option rear tyre on. We saw in that earlier Q1 session, it's only really good for 1 flying lap.
So a very important lap for the Ducatis and the Suzukis. Lorenzo will probably have a little bit of more leeway with that medium rear tyre. Bottom end of the circuit, down at the Omega curve for Jorge Lorenzo. Now coming up through turns 4 and 5.
We're on board now with Andrea Iannone. Excellent qualifying form for him so far this season, of course, including a career first pole position in MotoGP in front of his home crowd in Mugello last month. It's Lorenzo, though, that's first out on the track. Of course, this will be the best lap of the session so far. It's the first time lap coming up. But it's going to be interesting to see the pace set by the likes of Iannone, Dovizioso and Aleix Espargaro, because as we know from Q1, we saw it quite clearly, that white banded soft option rear tyre, which we saw there momentarily on the back of Iannone's Ducati GP15. There's only really 1 lap you can get out of it at optimum grip. Here we are now on board with Marc Marquez, dominant throughout practice.
Marquez down at turn 12. Lorenzo will be now getting near the finishing line for the first time. Lorenzo up through turn 13. Right, Lorenzo sets the first lap, a 1:21.481. Iannone goes top on a 1:21.475 with that softer tyre option. So Iannone leads away. What about Marc Marquez? Marquez crosses the line in 5th place.
Cal Crutchlow in pursuit of the reigning world champion. Crutchlow 7th. It's Iannone that leads the way then early on with that 1:21.475. Here's Aleix Espargaro. Well, we know when it comes to qualifying, this man is in red hot form. Successive front row starts in Barcelona and Assen, including pole in Barcelona.
He's gone top on the Suzuki, a 1:21.432 for Aleix Espargaro. How long will that softer tyre option last? Lorenzo on an absolute flyer at the bottom of the hill at turn 8.
Yeah, Lorenzo now up through turn 9. He's still being chased by Andrea Iannone. Look at that lap time from Marc Marquez at the bottom of your screen. Marquez up by almost half a second through the first 2 sectors. We're on board with Iannone down the hill on the brakes now to turn number 12. Iannone looking to take over pole position.
Here is Marquez at a similar position coming down through turn 11, down towards turn 12. Looks like Lorenzo will lead the way, but here is Marquez. Marquez should lead the way. It should be Lorenzo, followed by Iannone, then Marquez, and they should go 1-1-1, shouldn't they, as it stands at the moment.
Guys, very unfortunate for Bradley Smith. He had to come in. He had a broken front bubble on the bike. The team has done a very, very quick job and sent him straight back out again now. But he has lost some valuable time this session.
Marquez leads the way with a 1:20.8 1:28 for Marc Marquez.
Just inside his own pole position record set 1 year ago of 1:20.937. There you can see it at the bottom of your screens. Marc Marquez on record pace here in the early stages of Q2. He's coming in on this lap. Will he be going for a 3-stop strategy? He'll certainly have the time around this short 2.281 miles Saxon Ring circuit. We're on board with Andrea Dovizioso. Currently in 10th place at the moment is the Italian.
How much has he got left of those softer option tyres? Not a great deal. Obviously, Iannone will be in. Dovizioso will be in as well. Marquez leads away from Iannone, Danny Pedrosa, Valentino Rossi. So Rossi right up there, Aleix Espargaro, Roy Lorenzo, Paul Espargaro, Yoni Hernandez, Cal Crutchlow, Ray Dovizioso, Maverick Vinales, and it looks like real bad luck for Bradley Smith. But Bradley Smith, as we see, is now back out there. Broken front bubble. Was that an incident then, do you think, that he broke the front bubble?
It didn't look like it so much. It was more that the front screen had kind of popped out ever so slightly. One of the plastic rivets had kind of come undone through a crack. So it didn't. If there was an impact, it was very, very minor. But of course, it's going to upset the bike quite a lot.
Maybe he got hit by a stone or something that got flicked up. Maybe that could have been a cause of that. You don't know. Here's Valentino Rossi. He's just moved himself onto the front row of the grid. A 1:21.364 from the number 46. Rossi up to third. Marquez, Iannone and Rossi. That's the front row as it stands. 9 minutes of the session remaining.
We've only had 6 minutes of this session so far. Marc Marquez has beat his own pole time, a lap record. This is Bradley Smith, the only man not to set a lap time so far, but he will obviously set a lap time at this time around. Let's have a look.
Oh, that's why the screen was broken.
That's why the screen is broken. Is that turn 12?
That happened to him this morning as well, wasn't it? There you go. Oh, he's just absolutely head-butted the screen on that Tech 3 Wises RM1. He did a brilliant job there, Bradley Smith, actually, of keeping control of that bike, because he had a huge moment on the rear, and it was a proper full-on head plant on the screen.
We go now to Liver with Bradley Smith. So can he set any sort of decent lap time? That's a Valentino Rossi behind him. As we said, Rossi up into third place. It would be such a bad lap from Bradley Smith, but that certainly solved the mystery, didn't it? He clouded that pretty hard up towards turn 13. Rossi coming to the pits. No, he's not. Rossi is continuing. So let's see if Bradley Smith sets his first lap time of the weekend of this session, and in 12th place. Rossi behind him. Most of the riders now in. So Marquez, a 1:28.38, beats his pole time from last year.
Marquez there sitting pretty relaxed inside the Repsol Honda garage. He leads the way with that 1:20.838, the fastest ever MotoGP lap of this Saxon Ring circuit, marginally inside his own pole record of 2014. Here's Aleix Espargaro, who took over at the top of the timesheets very briefly a few minutes ago. 5th place at the moment for the Spaniard, middle of the second row of the grid, looking for a third straight front row start. Espargaro now winds up through turn number 11. Here he is down through the waterfall section. 5th gear, flat out, over 200 kilometres an hour for the Suzuki rider. At the moment, estimated to put him back on the front row of the grid.
Yeah, down at turn 12 is Aleix Espargaro. 4 weeks ago, wasn't it? Pole position, of course, at his home Grand Prix in Catalonia. Bradley Smith, well, he can move up a place, but that's probably really unsettled his qualifying session. Let's have a look at Aleix Espargaro. Can he get onto that front row of the grid? The answer is no. Running in 5th place. Smith, the only other rider. Dovizioso is out there, but not so many riders out there at the moment. Smith could go up 1 place. No, he remains in 12th place.
We just had Danny Pedrosa go on his outlap. I think he had to pit a bit earlier than he wanted to, because he looked like he was held up. Might have been by Crutchlow on his fast run, so he came in and decided to opt for some new tyres straight away.
Yeah, it was almost a race into pit lane between Crutchlow and Pedrosa, wasn't there? And that could have certainly been why. Right, 6 minutes 15 seconds remaining. Here we go. This will count. Andrea Iannone currently running in 2nd place.
Iannone chasing what would be a 4th front row start of the season. He's in 2nd place at the moment with that 1:21.269. That's over 0.4 of a second behind Marc Marquez, though. There's an aerial shot of the pit lane. You can just see the Repsol Honda team mechanics there, busy working to get Marc Marquez and Danny Pedrosa back out on track. Just over 5.5 minutes to go. Here comes Marc Marquez as number 93. He's been on pole position here at the Saxon Ring for the last 5 years in 3 different classes. Can he make it a Super 6? 5.5 minutes remaining.
Valentino Rossi also back out there. He will be looking to continue on the front row of the grid. That is important for Rossi. It's Danny Pedrosa crossing the line. Down into turn 1 for Pedrosa. Yeah, it did seem to have bought that lap quite early, the last lap he went out on. 5 minutes, 15 seconds remaining. Marquez, Iannone, Rossi, your provisional front row. Will that change? What can Pedrosa do? Aleix Espargaro, Lorenzo. Yeah, the real guys to look at.
And Bradley Smith's mechanics are going to have to work extra fast now. He's obviously the last guy to come back in. They're just going to pop in a new tyre, try and get him out as soon as possible. Aleix Espargaro, on the other hand, came in as well, but he's actually switched bikes rather than rear tyres, so a slightly quicker process.
What's pretty clear, though, is that these guys are only going for a two-stop strategy. We thought they might go for 3. Fastest sector times. Marc Marquez through the first split, then it's Danny Pedrosa who we're on board with now, quick through sector 2. And then it's the soft tyres through that sector 3 and 4 that have helped Aleix Espargaro and Andrea Iannone. There's Jorge Lorenzo, currently at the back of the second row of the grid. He's had 5 front row starts in 2015 so far, has Lorenzo. His worst qualifying last time out, 8th place in Assen.
Good lap, though, from Lorenzo. Could lift him up into second place with 4 minutes remaining through turn 12. 4 successive wins and that 3rd place in the Assen. Still chasing his first victory here, though, at the Sachsenring.
Lorenzo will just be coming through the final corner now. There he is, Jorge Lorenzo. He's up onto the front row of the grid. Second place for Lorenzo. He's the second rider into the 120s. He's only 800ths of a second behind Marc Marquez. Brilliant lap from Lorenzo. Now Marquez, Lorenzo, Iannone is the front row. Rossi bumped back down to 4th.
We ride with Valentino Rossi. Yeah, bumped off that front row of the grid by his teammate, Jorge Lorenzo. Rossi, though, well, let's have a look. Second split time up any moment now. This will push him back on, and that could push Iannone off the front row of the grid. Runs along the bottom end of the circuit. Coming up the hill now for Valentino Rossi into the succession of fast left-hand corners before the right. And then we get some idea where he stands. Good lap also. Very good lap from Danny Pedrosa.
13 months ago, Danny Pedrosa's last pole position, Catalunya 2014. Here he is now looking to put the record straight, 5th place at the moment. Pedrosa, he's got a 10th in his pocket through these final 2 turns. He comes through turn number 12 now. Pedrosa accelerating up the hill to the final corner. Here comes Rossi.
Can Rossi find himself back on the front row of the grid? Yes, he does. 3rd place for Valentino Rossi. What about Pedrosa?
Pedrosa to the line now. 5th place at the moment. Pedrosa takes over at the top of the timesheets. 2.5 minutes of the session remaining. Pedrosa leads the way, a 1:20.628. 2/10 up on Marc Marquez. Marquez fights back.
Marquez crosses the line shortly in first place. A 1:20.336 from Marc Marquez. So Marquez, Pedrosa, Lorenzo, Hernandez, Rossi and Iannone is your first 3 rows. You blink, it changes.
Marc Marquez now over half a second clear of his 2014 pole position record. Repsol Honda 1-2, just over 2 minutes of the session remaining. Marquez's mentor and manager, Emilio Alzamora, looks on closely. There's Yoni Hernandez. Hernandez has gone up to 4th place, leading the second row of the grid for Yoni Hernandez. That would be his career best qualifying performance from the Colombian. A 1:21.115, less than 2/10 of a second behind Jorge Lorenzo in 3rd. Back with Pedrosa.
Yeah, Pedrosa, top of the hill, plunges down towards turn 12. Pedrosa, middle of that front row of the grid. Behind him is Andrea Dovizioso. Dovizioso not so highly placed, currently down in 10th place. They come up now towards 13. Rossi crosses the line. Can he hang in there on that front row of the grid? Paul Espargaro crosses the line.
A minute and a half of the session remaining. Nobody looking like on our split screens that they're going to threaten Marc Marquez with that blistering 1:20.336. Andrea Iannone has crossed the line. There he is going through the first corner. Iannone up to 4th place. That's pushed Yoni Hernandez back down to 5th. That would equal Hernandez's best ever qualifying performance, which was 5th in the opening round in Qatar. Aleix Espargaro, though, not finished yet. He's been dropped back down to 7th, looking to put himself back on the front row of the grid for the 3rd race in succession.
Through the 3rd split now for Aleix Espargaro. Yeah, well, that could get him onto the second row of the grid. That familiar number 41. Beautiful Suzuki liveries. He comes through turn 12. Look at the clock, 45 seconds remaining. Espargaro into turn 13, the final corner.
Here he comes up the short rise now to the start line. Spargo over the line. Well, he stays in 7th place. He lost a big chunk of time in that final sector there. The number 41, Andrea Iannone. He's on a pretty decent lap. Cal Crutchlow coming to the line now. He stays in 9th. Disappointing qualifying for Crutchlow on the 3rd row of the grid. Iannone, the lap time's gone away for him in that 3rd sector. But it's all about this man there, the reigning world champion, Marc Marquez. Quickest as he plunges down the hill through turn number 11.
Yeah, amazing weekend so far for Marc Marquez. Led all the practice sessions and now leads at this qualifying 2 session. That amazing lap, 1:23.36. The checkered flag is now out. Bradley Smith has moved up into 9th place. So 3rd row start for Bradley Smith despite all those problems early in the session. But surely now Marc Marquez will claim a pole position here at the Sachsenring as he chases his 6th successive victory. And all those wins have come from pole position. So
the omens are pretty good then, aren't they?
I got to say, if you're a betting man, I'd keep your money in your pocket. Valentino Rossi, no. Valentino Rossi is going to have to start, by the look of things, from the 2nd row of the grid. So not a complete disaster. Lorenzo's done a